Welcome to the CCN podcast, where we discuss the latest trends, companies, and people shaping the cryptocurrency space. I'm your host, Jake Sylvester. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 16th episode of the CCN podcast. This week, we're going to talk about the flat prices, the entrance of some big brokers into the marketplace, and Mt. Gox's massive sell-off, which they've just admitted to. So first of all, the flat prices this week. This week was pretty unexciting. Bitcoin was pretty much flat. The entire market capitalization was pretty much flat. The only major coin that was really hurting this week was Ethereum, which was down 10%, which is an exact reversal of last week when it was up 10%. So with Ethereum down so much, how is the market flat? Well, there were a couple of other altcoins that surged, namely Stellar, among others. There was some good news this week. Brazil's largest broker, Grupo XP, has released its plans to allow Bitcoin and Ethereum trading on its platform by the end of 2018. Now, this broker in and of itself is not the biggest deal here. It's the fact that other banks and brokers might follow in its steps inside and outside of Brazil. The higher trading volume is definitely going to be a good thing for prices, and we could see a rapid increase in retail investors once these things start to open up, especially considering the retail interest we've seen in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets. On that same note, Gemini, the cryptocurrency exchange started by the Winklevi twins and that sells market data to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is rumored to be eyeing a UK expansion. This week, it was reported that they had hired advisors to start positioning themselves to submit an application to the UK Financial Conduct Authority. If it does this, it'll be following in the steps of Coinbase, which is already certified under the Financial Conduct Authority. Coinbase's certification allows it to do business in most of the EU, and it would be logical for Gemini to want to do the same thing. Also seeking to expand this week is Circle. Circle listed EOS, Stellar, 0x, and Quantum this week. These assets were listed using the Circle Asset Framework, which is used to decide which assets are going to be listed on the platform. Circle has been rapidly courting market share as they seek to grow their user base. Just in May, they listed Zcash and Monero, and it's only logical that they're going to seek to expand further. Up until now, most of Circle's major advancements have been in the institutional space, but it would appear that they're making some serious progress in courting retail investors away from platforms like Coinbase and even Coinbase Pro, formerly known as GDAX. Speaking of exchanges, a bombshell was dropped this week that $230 million in Bitcoin sell-offs had occurred from the Mt. Gox estate. It's actually rumored by a bunch of analysts that this is actually what caused the current bear market we're in. While there's no way to tell whether or not that's true, it's definitely a factor. And some have been questioning the responsibility of Mt. Gox's sell-off versus just distributing coins or waiting and getting a better outcome for creditors. Next up this week, Andreessen Horowitz invested $15 million in stablecoin MakerDAO. You might remember MakerDAO because we interviewed their CEO, Rune Christensen, in episode 8. MakerDAO is a really fascinating project in that, in theory, it allows you to algorithmically peg a price to anything, not just the dollar or the European Union's currency, but you can actually, in theory, pin the value of a MakerDAO token to the consumer price index, which would make it immune to inflation, deflation, and other economic pressures that have plagued currencies for hundreds of years. Finally this week, we're going to wrap up with an interview with Fcoin's head of international communications. Fcoin is a controversial exchange, and they were the first to employ the trans mining model. We've also got another awesome interview coming up in the middle of the week. I'm not going to spoil who that's with, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it, so stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoy this. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm here with Jasper Liu, the head of international communications at Fcoin. How you doing today?
Great. Nice to meet you, Jake.
Yeah, it's great to meet you too. So talk a little bit about how you got into crypto and how you got involved with Fcoin.
Previously, I was working in a totally different industry. Crypto news has, I've been reading about it, but I didn't really actually understand it. But, through like a party, I got to meet the founder of Fcoin, Mr. Zhang Jian, and we had a very interesting conversation over dinner and drinks. And he got me really excited about, crypto, because I believe this is the future. So I started to read more about, crypto industry. And when Mr. Zhang Jian was preparing to launch Fcoin, he asked me if I'm interested to join him. And that's how I got into the business.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique path. So what got you excited about Fcoin in particular?
I think Fcoin is really revolutionary in terms of its concept. First of all, we are not a company in its traditional sense, because Fcoin is a community-based digital trading platform. Because from the very beginning, our founder, Mr. Zhang Jian, envisioned Fcoin to be a fully self-governing community run entirely by the community members. So we don't necessarily have a company structure, but we do have like some different supporting teams within Fcoin. But all the important decisions have to go through the community members through a referendum. And we have a very active global community with approximately over 100,000 community members across the world. And we also have a community committee with our founder, Mr. Zhang Jian, as the chairman. So I believe, it started out already very different from traditional exchanges where they have a company structure, but we are more a community-based, trading platform. So this is, I think, a very unique selling point of Fcoin to start with.
Yeah, so would you guys consider yourselves a decentralized autonomous organization?
I would say so, yes.
And how does that affect the way you run a company? Because generally they're very hierarchical, right? So does that affect your ability to get things done, or does it actually make it easier?
I think I would say to make it easier because, as I mentioned, we are a community. Everyone is working hard to make, Fcoin, the native token issued with Fcoin is FT, to make FT more valuable. So there is not really responsibility or like team leaders, but we are all working very hard to achieve the same goal. And each community member can contribute what he is doing best for the community. So I believe this is make the whole process even more effective, I would say.
Yeah, so I think that's a good overview of Fcoin, the community, and Fcoin, the organization. Talk a little bit about what the product is and what Fcoin does.
All right. I think if you talk about Fcoin, you would not miss to mention the transfer mining mechanism, which is really revolutionary because Fcoin was the first exchange to launch the trans-fee mining mechanism. The trans-fee mining mechanism actually is a brand new approach for exchanges to distribute its own native tokens. And in the meantime, it will benefit all the respective community at large. So trans-fee mining is a trans-fee reimbursement structure where the exchanger uses transaction fee are 100% fully reimbursed back to users in the form of its exchange's native token. And in our case, it's FT. And I would say in this bearish market, the trans-fee mining model has proved to be really successful because it becomes increasingly more and more difficult for a new exchange to stand out from the crowd. So trans-fee mining encourages high trade frequency. Also, it increased the exchange's trading capacity and ultimately improving the on-hand liquidity. So I would say Fcoin initiated trans-fee mining mechanism and has managed to, because we launched Fcoin on May the 21st, so it's only a little over 4 months now, but we managed to attract more than 2 million new users and in such a short time, and especially in the bearish market. So this is an achievement we're so proud of.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about how that Fcoin gains value, right? So you have a trader who wants to buy Bitcoin, they purchase it, and whatever that trading fee is reimbursed 100% in your native token. So talk about how that Fcoin token gains value.
I would say that the more people buy it, the high trading volumes, for example, and also we have a policy of returning 80% of our daily income to FT holders. So if you hold FT, basically you will get a share of our daily income, because 80% of our daily income will be distributed to FT holders. So this is a very attractive way for people to purchase FT and to see the value of our native coins.
Got it. That's an interesting model. So let's say I buy Bitcoin and I'm also holding Fcoin, right? And you guys take whatever fee you take. Let's just call it 1% for an example. At the end of the day, as an Fcoin holder, do I get a share of that Bitcoin redistributed to me?
Yes, you do.
So how do you guys handle other coins that maybe aren't ERC20 compliant? Do you guys just have a lot of wallets that are created for customers?
This is an interesting question because right now we focus more on Ethereum network. So we have not actually listed many mainstream coins due to the limitation, but our technical team is currently working on it. So I think in the following months, we will be able to list more mainstream coins that is not independent, that is not dependent on the Ethereum network.
Got it. So that should be an interesting change that I guess you guys hope will bring more users.
Definitely.
So talk a little bit about some of the criticism you guys have received from competing exchanges. I know Binance CEO went after you a little bit. And how do you guys respond to that when you have these giants kind of coming after you?
I believe that, all this criticism, we treat them as, some of them as constructive advices. And regarding to the Binance CEO's comment, we don't really respond because in this bearish market, our founder, Mr. Zhang Jian, always tell us it's a very good opportunity for us to lay a solid foundation. So the technical team is really working hard to make our users' trading experience more users-friendly. So this is a good opportunity for us to to prove that we're doing something great. And when the market turns around, I believe Fcoin will definitely shine through with our very interesting business model.
Got it. And you guys were the first to do this trans fee model and really innovate there. But some other exchanges have adopted that. I think OKEX is one, and I think there are a few others. So how do you guys differentiate yourselves?
That's a very good question, because I have to, tell everyone that for Fcoin, the trans fee mining model has officially ended. As I mentioned in the very beginning, we are completely a community autonomous trading platform. So all our important decisions need to go through a community referendum. And it's our community who voted for the end of trans fee mining era, which helps Fcoin to sort of usher in a deflation mechanism and making FT, our native token, more valuable. And this is another evolution for Fcoin, because we have successfully evolved from Fcoin 1.0 to Fcoin 2.0. And now we are experimenting a very new listing process via F1. F1 is actually a new sub-brand under Fcoin. What is so special about F1 is that it allows both individuals and organizations to create their own trading zones and mini exchanges within Fcoin platform. So there are currently about over 60 organizations within F1 that have already opened their own trading zones and exchanges, listing both new and existing tokens. And this is another way to give the power back to the community. I don't know if everyone is familiar with Alibaba and Taobao. So the concept of Taobao is that basically everyone can open up their own shop on that platform. So F1 is very similar to the early stage of Taobao, where it gives the individual the power to list their own coins. So this is another revolutionary concept we're so proud of. And so far, F1 is doing extremely well. We have some new coins being listed, which attract huge trading volumes. And I believe this is the direction that we'll be working towards. Yes.
So have you guys faced any challenges being a Chinese-based exchange? I know you just mentioned two pretty big Chinese companies. Let's talk a little bit about that regulatory environment and how being based in China originally has helped or hurt you.
I think this is a misconception. We are not really a company based in China. First of all, we are not a traditional company. Second, most of our community members and also team is actually across the world. Some of them are working in Singapore, some of them working in Tokyo, some of them working in Beijing, China. So we have team members and also community members across the world. We don't really, I would say, be affected by the regulatory by the government. And this is something that we also want to avoid, because in China, you're right, the regulation seems to be really strict. So with our business model as a community-based, this is a good way for us to avoid being regulated, I would say.
Where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years?
I would say to be one of the largest digital trading platforms in the world. We have full confidence about it. First of all, I think returning 80% of platform's daily income to its community members as dividend payouts. is a policy that we will never change. And this is very attractive to new users. So I hope that this message can get across through your podcast to more crypto investors, to attract them to come to Fcoin. And second, I would say that we are a totally transparent trading platform. If you go through our website, on the front page, you will see all the assets could be tracked in our asset pool. So in this era, with traditional exchanges, there are a lot of briberies or money grabbing going on. So we are the first sort of exchange to be out there to tell everyone, hey, this is our asset. All our asset is stored in the cold wallets. You can, track. So this is another way to show how transparent we are. And last but not least, what I mentioned just now about the F1 section, which is a new brand under Fcoin, with the concept of everybody has the opportunity to list their own coins. I would say this will be the industry trend because nowadays listing a coin seems to be very difficult with other exchanges because you have to pay, the project parties have to pay really high listing fees. But with Fcoin, all the listing coins have, you don't have to pay anything. But at the same time, you enjoy the same benefits with other exchanges. So I think this is the trend, and this made Fcoin very different from other exchanges. And I believe in 5 years, I hope that we will, be more successful and being recognized around the world.
That's awesome. So I'd like to thank you for coming on to talk through some of the cool stuff you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, Jake. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was great having you on.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. The views and opinions expressed on this show are only those of its hosts and guests, and sometimes of no one at all. The CCN podcast was produced by Rockwood Audio and hosted by ccn.com. To find out more about CCN and the podcast, check us out at ccn.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at CryptoCoinsNews. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to rate and subscribe.